Hey, what's up, Mavs fans? Kevin Gray, Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 97.1 The Freak on the Dallas Mavericks Radio Network. Appreciate you joining me here on Inside the Mavs on my YouTube channel here at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to download and subscribe to Inside the Mavs wherever you get your podcast for free on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Give the podcast a 5-star rating and write a review for it. While you're there, you can follow me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Mavericks get a huge bounce-back win over the New York Knicks as they end the Knicks' 5-game winning streak, as they get a 128-124 win over Jalen Brunson and the Knicks, as the Mavericks are able to get their 4th win of their 7-game homestand before they finish up their final 2 games of the homestand with the New Orleans Pelicans beginning on Saturday night. It was a spectacular night for Kyrie Irving, who was absolutely sensational, scoring 44 points, the most points he has ever scored in a Mavericks uniform, also dropping 10 dimes on the night as well, as he did a little bit of everything as the Mavericks go wire to wire in the 4-point win. They tried to give it away in the 4th quarter as the Knicks went on a 24-6 run to eventually cut the lead to 1, but a Josh Green three-pointer with 27 seconds left gave the Mavs a 4-point lead. They were able to hang on to win 128-124. Josh Green was spectacular on the night as well, scoring 18 points, tying a season high for him. Tim Hardaway Jr. came along with Kyrie Irving scoring 32 points, tying a season high for him as well. A lot of guys putting together a collective team effort as Luka Doncic was out dealing with a right ankle sprain. Dante Exum, of course, not available. So was Derek Lively unavailable in this game. But the Mavericks were able to get the tone set by Kyrie Irving, and that is one thing that I have really enjoyed about Kyrie Irving since coming back from his heel contusion at the beginning of the year. He has done a little bit of everything for the Mavericks as they scored a season-high 44 points in the first quarter, paced by Kyrie Irving, who scored the Mavericks' first 8 points of the game, including the three-pointer to open up the game, and the Mavericks never looked back from there. They were able to really push the pace against the New York Knicks, and what I loved about this game was after what you saw what happened to the Mavericks on Tuesday night against the Memphis Grizzlies, where the Grizzlies really punched them in the mouth without John Morant in the lineup. The Mavericks did to the Knicks what the Grizzlies did to them on Tuesday. The Knicks may have taken the Mavericks a little bit more lightly in Jalen Brunson's return to the AAC with Luka Doncic not available to play, but the Mavericks brought the fight and the energy throughout the course of this game, and it started in the first quarter with the tone being set by Kyrie Irving. And I've talked about this and continue to talk about it with him on this team. He is doing all of the little things, the veteran leader guy type of stuff, to lead by example, diving on the floor for loose balls, getting in the passing lanes, had another couple of steals in this game as well. Kyrie Irving is setting the pace with and without Luka Doncic, and the aggressiveness in setting that tone at the beginning of games is something that his teammates are following behind, and they did so again tonight. The Mavericks were able to outscore the Knicks 11-0 in fast break points in the first quarter, including outscoring them by 5 in second chance points. So that just tells you that the Mavericks are getting out in transition. They were out hustling the Knicks and really took it to them, leading at the end of the first quarter 44-26, where they shot a scorching 80% from three and 70% overall, as the Mavericks at one point made 6 straight shots to be able to build that lead going into the second quarter. As again, Kyrie Irving was absolutely spectacular in that first quarter, having 10 points. Tim Hardaway Jr. and Josh Green each had 11 points. And let me stick on Josh Green for a quick second, because you saw the good Josh Green in the game against the Knicks, a guy that was aggressive, getting out in transition, making layups, and more importantly, bringing the kind of energy on both ends of the floor that we expect a guy who's continuing to make developments and strides in his game to be able to do. And you saw that throughout the course of this game, of course, with the timely shot making that he did, especially in the fourth quarter. But I thought Josh Green played one of his best games tonight on both ends of the floor, because I think based off of what he is needing to bring, the Mavericks wanted to see that kind of performance from him, and he was able to do it for 4 quarters in the game. As you looked at the rest of the game, the Knicks were able to get back into the game a little bit, but the Mavericks closed the second quarter they used a 9-0 run to increase their lead back to 19 in the second quarter. They led by 19 at the end of the first half. Jalen Brunson tried to get things going. Him and Precious Achiuwa combined for 14 points in the second quarter, but the Mavericks were able to hold the Knicks from making a three-pointer in that second quarter to maintain their lead at 19. You go to the third quarter, though, that's where things got interesting. It was the Julius Randle and Kyrie Irving show. Julius Randle scoring 19 points in that third quarter to try and get the Knicks back into the game. But Luka Doncic, his running mate, as he was not able to play, Kyrie Irving was absolutely spectacular in that third quarter. You look at what he did, Irving with 7 of 9 from the field, scoring 20 of the 27 points for the Mavericks. The rest of his teammates went just 2 of 10 in that third quarter. But let me talk about the defense in that third quarter, because that was the calling card for allowing them to maintain their 15-point lead. As Julius Randle was going crazy halfway through the third quarter, the Mavericks were able in the last 5.5 minutes of the period to hold them without a field goal. That was a big difference. After the Knicks were able to cut the lead to 6, they were able to hold them to get the lead back to 15, as the Mavericks made themselves be able to hold the Knicks to go 0 of 10 from the field in the last 5.5 minutes of that third quarter. That's where you saw things turn up for them, especially on that end. That's what we talk about for this team. Can they get stops when they need to and do that on a consistent basis, night in and night out, to provide them opportunities to win games? And the third quarter was a perfect example of that. And then when you have Kyrie Irving being able to score at will, no matter if it's knocking down three-pointers, being able to get to the basket, creating for himself or for his teammates, that is when the level of this team continues to increase. And once Luka Doncic gets back on the floor, this will be a team that will be reckoned with. But what I loved and really appreciated about in this game was the energy level from jump. The Mavericks made sure that they were going to make it a point that they were not going to be out-hustled in this game. They were not going to be outplayed in this game. Now, they tried to give it away in the fourth quarter, where the Knicks were able to cut the lead to 1 as the Knicks went on a 24-6 run. But as I mentioned, Josh Green with timely shot making, he hit the three-pointer to give the Mavericks a 4-point lead with 27 seconds left to be able to hold on, as the Knicks were able to see Jalen Brunson be able to turn things up in the fourth quarter. He wound up finishing the game with 30 points on the night, as he tried to do all that he could to help the Knicks get the comeback win, but it fell short in this game. You look at some of the things from this game from an overall takeaway standpoint. One of the things that stands out for me, how about Grant Williams? The much maligned Grant Williams for the Dallas Mavericks, I thought played one of his best games, even though the points may not necessarily tell the whole story, where he had 11 points in the game. But I thought his hustle, I thought his ability he drew a charge on Julius Randle in this game, the defensive effort, and then knocking down some shots, whether it be in transition or wide open threes. I thought Grant Williams took a big step forward to trying to get back into this rotation on a consistent basis. He played nearly 27 minutes in this game, as Jason Kidd kept the rotation pretty short tonight for the Mavericks based on who was available for them. Grant Williams, I thought, played extremely well. And this was the kind of Grant Williams that we saw at the beginning of the year. While, yes, he went 2 of 6 from 3, the confidence in taking the shots and the willingness to do it, especially with his defense setting up his offense, this is the Grant Williams that the Mavericks were looking for. And I thought he played extremely well in this game, providing energy, hustle, and effort on both ends of the floor to really help this team provide the energy throughout the course of the game. And as I mentioned, Josh Green was spectacular in this game in support of Kyrie Irving and Tim Hardaway Jr. The question is, can you get that consistent level of play from him night in and night out, where he's able to drive the basket, be able to find open shooters like he did with Tim Hardaway Jr. at one point? And the Mavericks did a terrific job of recognizing matchups and attacking the paint where they knew the Knicks did not have a shot blocker in the middle of the lane. They attacked closeouts. They attacked in transition. They attacked in one-on-one situations. They made a concerted effort to get to the paint and get to the paint at will against New York. And that attacking mentality really set the tone, led by Kyrie Irving in this game. And that's a really good job by this coaching staff, recognizing what the game plan needed to be without a shot blocker and a rim protector for the Knicks. And guys other than OG Anunoby, who's their best defender, attack those guys and try to get them to the rim causing them to foul you to be able to get to the free throw line. The Mavericks in this game went 23 of 30 from the free throw line. So again, that just speaks to the mentality of attacking the rim as much as they did to have 30 free throw attempts in this game. You would like to see them make a few more, going 23 of 30, but you see the point. Attack the rim, force the issue, and try to make the Knicks foul you to be able to have easy opportunities to get easy points at the charity stripe. And that's what the Mavericks were able to do. They shoot 50% from the field, shoot over 41% from three as well. Kyrie Irving and Tim Hardaway Jr. combining to make 12 of the 17 three-pointers that the Mavericks had. And Tim Hardaway Jr. continues his really nice start to the season, picking up as a guy who can be a sixth man of the year candidate with the 32 points that he had. So give him a lot of credit for what he was able to do on this night for the Dallas Mavericks, getting the win in what they needed to, bouncing back after a disappointing loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. So now the Mavericks, now 4-1 on their homestand. They finished up their final two games of the season-long 7-game homestand against the New Orleans Pelicans with 2 games on Saturday and then again on Martin Luther King Day on Monday to be able to get themselves in position to move forward from there. And this was a really important win for them to be able to have the confidence to bounce back after what happened against Memphis in a performance against the Grizzlies that lacked effort, lacked energy, but that was not the case on Thursday night against the New York Knicks. And you give this coaching staff credit for having them ready to play. Jason Kidd talked about it after the game, how much they looked at the film and how much they talked about the performance that they had against Memphis and how unacceptable it was going into a night where you were hoping to spoil Jalen Brunson's return to the American Airlines Center, the first time that he's played at the AAC since leaving in free agency, of course, to go to New York. So now the Mavericks move forward with some confidence as they get ready to welcome in the Pelicans. 2 very important games when you start looking at the standings in the Western Conference and also with tiebreakers as we get closer to the halfway point of the season. That's where you start thinking about these types of things as far as playoff and positioning is concerned in the West. Having games like this against the Pelicans can go a long way to ensuring that you're at least getting some of those tiebreakers needed just in case that you need to. Hopefully for the Mavericks, they'll get back Luka Doncic as well. As I mentioned, missed the game with the right ankle sprain. No Derek Lively as he's working back from his left ankle sprain. The Mavericks need to get as healthy as they can as they get ready for a difficult stretch of games against teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, the Warriors, and others. The Mavericks are going to continue to see their schedule get tough. But this was an important win, not just for them on the floor, but psychologically being able to put that game behind them against Memphis, turn the page, cleanse the palate, and then get back to kind of the basketball that they were able to play. Getting up and down the floor in transition, forcing the issue from a defensive standpoint, where in this game, the Mavericks were able to force 16 Knicks turnovers, turning that into 23 points off of those turnovers. As I mentioned, outscoring the Knicks by 19 in the fast break, pushing the pace on the Knicks to force the issue up and down in transition. I thought the Mavericks did an excellent job with their energy and their effort that was much needed in this game against the Knicks. Coming in, the Knicks had won 5 straight games, one of the hottest teams in the NBA since acquiring OG Anunoby. They had been 5-0 since acquiring him, had the best defense in the league, best point differential in the league coming into the game against the Knicks. And for 3 quarters, they really took it to them. As I mentioned, allowed them to get back into the game, but you never really felt threatened until those last few minutes of the ball game where the Knicks were able to make a run. And good teams like that are going to make runs, but the Mavericks were able to be better on this night. And again, Kyrie Irving setting the tone throughout the course of this game as leader guy, veteran guy, diving on the floor for loose balls. Jason Kidd talking about that, noting how spectacular he was, not just with the offensive creativity, which we know that he's known for, the difficult shot making, but doing all of the little things that ensure that if he is going to do them, everyone else has to fall in line for this team. And when things got tight in the fourth quarter, where the Knicks started doubling him, sending more guys at him to get the ball out of his hands, and the Mavericks tightened up a little bit, but you were able to get enough from the guys other than Kyrie, namely Tim Hardaway Jr. and Josh Green down the stretch, to be able to hang on. And this is the value of having Kai on your team. When Luka Doncic is not available and dealing with injury or out for whatever reason, Kyrie Irving, as an all-star guard, an NBA champion, a veteran in this league who's been there and done that in the most clutch of situations that the history of the game has presented to him, he has been able to deliver, and he was able to do so once again when his team needed him most. And he has continued since returning from injury to really be that guy for this team, even when Luka Doncic has been on the floor. That is a really good sign if you're a Maverick fan about how this will continue to grow and develop throughout the rest of the regular season. Kyrie Irving, spectacular for the Mavericks in their win over the Knicks. So a lot of good things that they could take with them as they get ready to welcome in Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans over the weekend and then on Monday to hopefully build on this as far as momentum is concerned and not have the up and down swings that we've seen at times from them, whether it be having a disappointing game against Memphis or even having a spectacular game like they did against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We want to see consistent, even play for this team. And I thought they did a lot of different things well that may not necessarily show up in the box score, but help you win games in addition to all the things that they did in the box score to be able to get the win 128-124. Again, the Mavericks now move to 23-16 on the season. They'll look to go a season high 8 games above 500 when they take on the Pelicans on Saturday. They'll also look for their 13th home win of the season, as well as they are now 12-8 through 20 games at home so far at the AAC, 23-16 in 39 games overall so far this year. Appreciate you joining me here on Inside the Mavs here on my YouTube channel here at Kevin Gray Sports. Again, download and subscribe to Inside the Mavs wherever you get your podcast for free. The official Mavericks podcast of 97.1 The Freak. On my next episode, Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports is going to be joining me, talking all things Mavericks trade-related rumors, all the things that you wanted to know about how we get closer to the NBA trade deadline. Yahoo Sports NBA insider Jake Fisher will be joining me on our next episode. Again, appreciate you joining me here on Kevin Gray Sports on YouTube and downloading and subscribing to Inside the Mavs wherever you get your podcast for free. Mavericks win 128-124 over the New York Knicks as they get ready to welcome in the Pelicans on Saturday. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. My name is Kevin Gray, Mavericks pre- and post-game host on 97.1 The Freak for Inside the Mavs, the official Mavericks podcast of 97.1 The Freak on the Dallas Mavericks radio network. I'll talk to you later. Peace.